And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Boy, we've got a good show for you today. I hope you stick around and listen to the whole thing. If not, you can always listen to our archives that are out there. On today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Our special segment today, well, I'm going to continue my series on tax tips for the season, and then later on, Joel Saltzman going to join us, Dr. Wireless, and he'll be here to present the wireless technology and news, the things that are just current for the day. And I mean, he gets stuff every single day. But before that, I want you to stand by for news. But before that, I want you to know that at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently 72 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what? Yesterday at this time, when I announced the weather, it was 89 degrees. We're expecting some rain later on this evening and then again tomorrow, but we'll see what happens. We're going to certainly give you an update on the weather in a lot of the cities that we service around the world. But now, let's talk about the 10 things that you need to know that are in the news for today, Wednesday. And we're going to encapsulate them. Then we'll go back and we'll do as many as we can in depth that we can. Now, this is your daily look at late breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that are going to be talked about all day today and probably tomorrow or Thursday. And first up, the GOP resistance to filling Scalia's seat could be weakening. The Senate Judiciary Chair suggests he might be open to considering Obama's yet-to-be-named nominee, a sign his party may be sensitive to growing charges of obstructionism. Boy, you can bet that's going to happen. And the judge orders Apple to aid in a cell phone search. The ruling requires Apple to help the FBI hack into an encrypted iPhone belonging to one of the shooters in the San Bernardino attack. We'll probably talk more about that later, too. Whose support Hillary Clinton is seeking? Well, she takes her presidential campaign to New York City's Harlem community, her focus squarely on solidifying the backing of black voters. And a window opens for humanitarian aid in Syria. The UN says Assad's government has approved access to several besieged areas, and that convoys will head out in the coming days. Well, here's another one for you. Visiting Mexico, the Pope addresses the young. The pontiff urges young people to resist the lure of easy money from drug dealers and is instead value themselves as the wealth of the country. Well, how health experts believe the Zika could be halted. The World Health Organization says it may be necessary to use controversial methods like genetically modified mosquitoes to wipe out the insects that are spreading the virus. Well, a trial of Grim Sleeper opens in Los Angeles. Lonnie Franklin Jr., 63 years old, is accused of killing 9 women and a 15-year-old girl in one of the city's most notorious serial killer cases. We'll keep you updated on that as it comes along. What Bernie Sanders and brother have in common. Larry Sanders, too, is a Brooklyn-born political outsider who has risen to the top of politics, but he's become a force in Britain's Green Party. And Eagles of Death metal again take stage in Paris. The highly charged concert is filled with fans who survived the massacre and siege at the rock band's last Paris show. Then, finally, Prince protege dies at 57. Singer and actress Vanity-born Denise Matthews renounced her 80s sexy stage persona to become a Christian minister. Wow. Can you imagine? Going from a lot of money to probably poverty, I'm guessing. Well, let's talk about some in-depth issues. Let's talk about before the Supreme Court nod, an intrusive interrogation is going to take place. Did you ever buy porn, sniff glue, have sex in junior high school? Exactly how many times? Well, White House lawyers are scouring life's worth of information about President Barack Obama's potential picks for the Supreme Court, from the mundane to the intensely personal, in trying to replace the late Justice Antonin Scalia. The president could alter the balance of the court for decades, but only if he can get his nominee through Republicans in the Senate. Prospective justices are put through the nation's most thorough background check, an invasive process where nothing is off limits. After all, a surprise dredged up later could scuttle confirmation. So candidates' taxes, writings, childhoods, their business dealings, medical histories, and their love lives are all scrutinized for potential red flags. The idea that you missed something that later torpedoed the nomination, that's a nightmare, said Jack Quinn, former White House counsel to President Bill Clinton. Just ask Judge Douglas Ginsburg. 9 days after President Ronald Reagan nominated him for the high court, it was revealed that he had smoked marijuana as a law professor at Harvard, and he was forced to bow out. For Obama, who has successfully nominated 2 justices, the vetting process is even more critical this time as he works to push a nominee through in his final year in office. Already, Republicans are threatening to not even hold a vote. If hearings get mirrored in a squabble over some late revelation, Republicans could find fresh rationale for dragging the process out until Obama's term ends in January of 2017. I am going to present somebody who indisputably is qualified for the seat, Obama said yesterday. Traditionally, vetting takes weeks, if not months, depending on how many candidates are being checked. But Obama is expected to move as quickly as possible to announce his pick. You know what? Can't blame him. He is the president until January the 20th of 2017. Can't beat that one, right? Not at all. You know what? Let's talk a little bit more about that. Obama will name an indisputably qualified nominee to the court. Could you imagine him doing anything else? President Barack Obama said yesterday that he'd nominate a candidate to fill the vacancy on the Supreme Court who is indisputably qualified. He called on the staunch Republican opposition in the Senate to rise above venom and rancor and give the nominee a vote. I intend to do my job between now and January 20th of 2017, Obama said. I expect them to their job as well. You know what? I think that we as citizens of the United States should expect them to do their job as well. Now, I'm not saying they have to confirm whoever Obama puts up, but they certainly need to go through the vetting process. They need to do the questions. They need to figure out if the person's qualified and do an honest up-down vote. That's all that any American could expect. This obstructionism that's been going on both sides needs to end. Well, Turkey pushes the case for ground operations as the Kurds advance. Turkey said yesterday that it is pressing for ground operations in Syria, hoping for the involvement of the United States and other allies as a force dominated by Kurdish fighters pushed through rebel lines and captured more territory near the Turkish border. In Damascus, the UN envoy to Syria suggested that humanitarian aid would be allowed into several besieged areas today, calling it the duty of the government of Syria. Tomorrow, we test this, Staffan de Mistra said after a meeting with Syria's foreign minister. The UN later announced the government of President Bashar Assad has approved access to 7 such areas across the country and that convoys would head out in the coming days. Yep. Well, we'll see what actually happens with that. Who knows? I don't believe anything that I'm hearing and half of what I'm seeing, right? Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about Pope Francis. He's talking to Mexico priests and saying, don't be resigned to the status quo. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away. We'll be right back, folks.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. And as I said, Pope Francis is talking to Mexico priests. He says, don't be resigned to the status quo. No. You know what? Pope Francis urged Mexico's priests yesterday to fight injustice and not resign themselves to the drug-fueled violence and corruption around them, issuing a set of marching orders to shake up a Mexican church known for its cozy ties to the rich and powerful. Francis traveled to a hotbed of Mexico's drug trade for a mass with the country's priests and nuns. It was the first event of a day-long visit to Moriela, I think that's how you pronounce that, in the capital of Michoacan state. That includes a meeting with young people, a fixture of papal trips that often produces some of the most memorable and spontaneous moments. Francis's visit was also a symbolic vote of confidence for the city's Archbishop Alberto Suarez Inda. Like Francis, Suarez Inda has called for Mexican bishops to be closer to their people and not act like bureaucrats or princes. Last year, Francis made him a cardinal, an unambiguous sign that Francis wants peripheral pastors like him at the helm of the church hierarchy. In his homily, Francis admonished the priests and nuns to not become resigned to the problems around them or give in to the paralysis, which he called the devil's favorite weapon. Well, you know what? What temptation can come to us from places often dominated by violence, corruption, drug trafficking, disregard for human dignity, and indifference in the face of suffering and vulnerability? What temptation might we suffer over and over again when faced with this reality which seems to have become a permanent system? Francis asked that question, and I think we can sum it up in one word: resignation. Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's move along. And, the Associated Express wants to explain why the fight in northern Syria is pivotal. Across a narrow strip of border territory near the Euphrates River, a ferocious battle with huge implications for Syria's civil war is playing out, one that also risks erupting into a regional conflict. The fight for control of Aleppo pulls in all the major players in Syria's civil war over a prized strip of rebel-held land near the Turkish border. A look at this stretch of territory, sometimes referred to as the Azaz Corridor. Let's talk about the geography a little bit. The area is a nearly 60-mile border zone stretching from Azaz in the west to the town of Jarablus near the Euphrates River down to the northern suburbs of Aleppo City. The zone is wedged between Kurdish-controlled areas to the east and west. It includes Azaz and Maria, two strongholds of Turkey-backed rebels fighting to topple President Bashar Assad, and Jarablus, Al-Bab, and Manbij. I hope I pronounced that right. Anyway, they're held by the Islamic State group. Syrian government troops backed by Hezbollah and Iranian forces are pushing toward the north from around Tel Rifat. Warplanes from the United States-led coalition pound the IS-held areas in the zone, while Russia, a key Assad backer, bombs the rebels. Now, why is this so important? Well, the outcome of the fight in Aleppo may, to a large extent, determine the outcome of the 5-year-old conflict. This is because the town of Azaz, with its border crossing of Bab al-Salameh, has been a lifeline for the opposition since it fell into rebel hands way back in 2012. Now, a route known as the Azaz Corridor links rebel-held eastern Aleppo with Turkey. If the rebels lose this corridor, they would effectively lose Aleppo. The entire border with Turkey would be sealed off, its control shifting to anti-Turkish Syrian government or Kurdish forces. So that kind of tells you, the importance of it and what's actually going on in that particular case. Well, let's talk about the latest. Obama is chiding the GOP candidates for harsh talk. You know what? I guess that would be an easy way of putting it, harsh talk. The latest in campaign 2016, President Barack Obama says that Donald Trump isn't the only Republican presidential candidate making troubling comments that have raised concerns overseas. Obama's chiding the GOP candidates yesterday for harsh talk about Muslims and immigration and for questioning climate change, he said. This is not just Mr. Trump. Obama's contrasting the reality of being president with the rhetoric on the campaign trail. He says being president isn't hosting a reality show or a talk show. Obama spoke at a news conference after hosting a summit with Southeast Asian leaders. He says foreign observers are troubled by the Republican primaries and debates. He says other countries count on the United States to side with science and common sense. Obama predicted that U.S. voters will make a sensible choice in the end. Well, you know what? Who knows? I'm not sure there is a sensible choice. I just have no idea, none at all, what the people are going to do. They seem to have their heads stuck in the sand most of the time. Well, you know what? Let's talk about the graphic photos that begin the grim sleeper serial killer trial. Their bodies were dumped in alleys and garbage bins in South Los Angeles, some naked, some covered with mattresses and trash. Most had been shot in the chest after some type of sexual contact. Others strangled. As prosecutor Beth Silverman showed photo after photo of the 10 victims to a packed courtroom yesterday, family members of the dead young women shook as they wept. Some covered their faces, others had to walk out. It was an emotional beginning to a long-awaited grim sleeper trial more than 30 years after the first victim's death. What a horrible, horrible thing. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to talk about the IRS loses, and we've got some great cases for you. The first one, though, is a case that the IRS split on. They said the housing subsidy costs a mother a dependency exemption, but not the earned income credit. And I'm going to explain to you why that's so important right after these brief messages. So do not go away. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. Got a couple of really good cases for you. As I mentioned before our break, the first one, the IRS actually had a split deal going on here. A housing subsidy costs a mother a dependency exemption, but not the earned income credit. Let me explain this to you. Manuela Cantrell, a divorced mother, claimed dependency exemptions, a dependent care credit, child tax credits, and the earned income credit for her 2 sons who lived with her as well as head of household filing status. Now, the IRS challenged all of them. They went to court. This is what the court said. Cantrell received a Section 8 housing subsidy that, combined with child support from her ex-husband, accounted for more than half of the support of her sons. So she could not claim the dependency exemptions, a child care credit, nor child tax credit for them. But the earned income credit and head of household status are not conditioned on the support test, so she could still claim those. Now, just so that you don't think that the earned income credit is a small deal, it's over $5,000 in this case. A big help to this lady. How about this? The IRS loses. They did not prove the evidence was in a foreign country, so time actually ran out. Sounds a little strange, right? Listen to this. An individual who was criminally charged with committing securities fraud and tax evasion moved to have 19 charges against him dropped because the statute of limitations had actually run out. Now, the government's reply to that? The limitation period had been stopped because the government was seeking to obtain evidence located in a foreign country. They went to court. This is what the judge said. limitations periods is stopped while the government seeks such evidence, if it can show the evidence probably is located abroad. But here, the government presented no evidence to support this claim, and merely assertion is not enough. So the deadline had run, and the charges are absolutely dismissed. Now, you've got to love that, right? I know, gosh, isn't that the way it's supposed to be? Yeah, of course it is. Now, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. Well, that's kind of where we're at with this next segment that we like to call Inside the IRS. It's a little bit like the Twilight Zone. Oh, yeah. So here's the deal. Let's talk about this. Did you know the IRS cannot take money in a pension during a bankruptcy? They try, but they can't do it. Here's the thing. An individual who was declaring bankruptcy owed $140,000 to the IRS, but had more than $200,000 in a qualified retirement plan account. The IRS previously had placed a lien on the retirement account and said that this allowed it to use the account as assets to collect the tax debt. Now, here's the conflict. The federal pension law, ERISA, says funds in qualified retirement accounts are not subject to creditor claims. Taxpayers say this keeps such funds from being included in a bankruptcy estate and beyond the reach of the IRS as a creditor, at least until they are paid out upon the retirement. But the IRS says ERISA also states its provisions do not override any other federal law, and that other federal laws give the IRS the power to take any assets a taxpayer owns to settle a tax claim. So it says that it can take that retirement account assets to settle a tax debt, notwithstanding ERISA and the bankruptcy filing. Now, the lower courts had ruled both ways on this issue when the case reached one of the 11 U.S. Circuit Courts of Appeal. Now, here's a decision. For the individual, the IRS cannot take the pension money. Why? If the IRS position was correct, then declaring bankruptcy would expose an individual to accelerated claims. Now, this is because it is well settled that absent bankruptcy, an IRS lien on a qualified retirement account gives the IRS no right to collect anything until the account goes into pay status, such as at retirement. If the IRS could collect the assets during the term of the bankruptcy reorganization, then it would collect sooner, or the reorganization plan might have to be rejected by the court because there would be too few assets to fund it. Also, the IRS itself has argued the opposite way in court, saying that funds in a pension account cannot secure a tax debt when its object was to increase the amount of the unsecured debt above applicable limits in bankruptcy filings. So here's the conclusion. ERISA means what it says, and pension assets cannot be made part of a bankruptcy estate. So the IRS cannot take them from a bankruptcy estate to settle a tax debt. Now, that just makes sense, doesn't it? Sure it does. That only makes sense. Now, I want to remind you folks that we have a really great app for Robert Cardoza Live, and we want to encourage you to go out and get it. Now, if you've got an Apple product or a Windows product or an Android product, you can use this. It's available to you. If you have an Apple product, just go to the Apple Store and search Robert Cardoza Live. The app is right there. It is absolutely free. There's no cost for it. And if you've got an Android or Windows product, just go to googleplay.com and search again Robert Cardoza Live. It's right there, and there's no cost for it. It's going to let you listen to our show live. It'll flag you for broadcasting live with a little flag that says live. Otherwise, it'll just be the show will be showing there. All the shows are right there, and you can listen to them at your own leisure. If you tap on the information button, it'll tell you what that particular show is all about. We would encourage you to get those. It makes it easier for you to follow us, and you can actually chat with us during the show if you're interested in doing that. And we would encourage you to do it. Now, don't go away, because when we come back, I'm going to be dealing with those tax tips we talked about, and you don't want to miss them. We've got some good ones for the military, and we've got some good ones for you too. So we'll be right back after these brief messages. Don't go away, folks.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:33 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently 72 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Yesterday at this time I was telling you it was 89 degrees. Can you imagine that difference? Now we're actually expecting some rain a little bit later on this evening, and then there's a better chance of rain even tomorrow. So who knows what's going on with this weather? It's kind of weird, but you know what? If you're listening to us on our global network and you're in New York City right now, it's 37 degrees and overcast. If you're in Chicago, Illinois, well, that's 31 degrees, but it's clear. It was snowing yesterday. We'll give you some more updates around the world a little bit later. But right now, I want to give you some tax breaks. And you know what? We're all concerned about the military and our veterans. And so I thought we'd do some special tax breaks for members of the military. So let's, excuse me. Let's give that some air here today. Members of the United States military services receive special tax breaks, several of which were enacted only recently. Now, if you are a member of your family is in the armed forces, these special breaks might save you thousands of dollars. Let's start off with our IRAs. This year, Congress enacted a new law allowing members of the military to use tax-free combat pay to fund IRA contributions, including both traditional and Roth IRAs retroactively, so they can go all the way back to 2004. That's a big deal. That's 11 years or 12 years ago, actually, if you think about it. So that's a big thing. Now, this is an exception to the general rule that only taxable earnings can be used to fund IRAs. Moreover, these special IRA contributions can be made as late as May of this year, for all the years all the way back to 2004. So there's no 3 years stipulation here. Roth IRA contributions do not have to be reported on a tax return, but contributions to traditional IRAs must be. If you make one for a past year, report it on IRS Form 1040X. That's an amended tax return for that year. Now, how about this? Reservists' retirement plan withdrawals. Under the recently enacted pension law, military reservists who are called to active duty may take withdrawals from their IRAs, their 401k accounts, and 403b tax-sheltered annuities before age 59 and a half without having to pay a 10% early withdrawal penalty, provided that the withdrawal is taken during the period of active duty. Now, moreover, withdrawn amounts may be recontributed to the IRA within 2 years after the period of active duty ends, or if later, within 2 years of this August, without regard to the annual IRA contribution limit. Now, no deduction is allowed for the IRA recontribution. To qualify for this break, a reservist must have been called to duty after September 11th of 2001, which is how far they're going back, and at least 180 days or so for an open-ended period. Reservists who have already paid the penalty in past years can file amended returns regardless of the dating to get those refunds. Now, how about home sales? Under normal rules, gain on the sale of a home is tax-free up to $250,000 on a single return, or $500,000 on a joint return, provided the taxpayer owned and used the home as a primary residence for 2 of the prior 5 years. However, way back in 2003, Congress enacted a law letting the 5-year test period be suspended during any period in which a member of the military serves on qualified official extended duty. This is defined as in any extended active duty in excess of 90 days while serving at a duty station at least 50 miles from the home or while residing under government orders in government quarters. The maximum suspension is 10 years. Big deal, guys. I'll give you an example. Let's just say you bought a home in, let's say, 1997 and lived in it for 2.5 years. For the next 6 years, you did not live in it because you were not qualified. You were on qualified official extended duty with the military service. So in 2005, you sold the home for a gain. You can suspend the 5-year test for the 6 years. Doing so leaves you owning and using the home as your principal residence for more than 2 years during the 5 counted years. So you qualify to exclude the gain on its sale. That's the $250,000 if you're single, or $500,000 if you're married. So keep that in mind. Now, this tax break was made retroactive. That's why I'm talking about these earlier dates. So it is still possible to file an amended return to claim it as far back as 2003. Tax returns can be amended up to 3 years back, so the chance to amend for 2003 will expire when the 2006 returns become due. Now, how about reservist travel deductions? Do you know, members of the National Guard and military reservists often have significant travel costs. Normally, travel expenses including lodging, 50% of the cost of meals, and incidental expenses are deductible only as an itemized deduction on Schedule A of the long 1040 tax form. But most taxpayers don't itemize deductions. As a matter of fact, only about 25-26% of them do, and those who don't can claim travel deductions. So here's the deal. Here's a special rule. Members of the National Guard and military reserves can deduct travel expenses directly against their income, provided provided the travel lasts overnight, involves traveling more than 100 miles from home, and is for drill or meetings. Now, claim the deduction by filing IRS Form 2106, Employee Business Expenses, with your tax return. How about this? Combat Zone Pay Exclusion. Enlisted personnel in combat zones receive a full tax exclusion for their pay. Commissioned officers received an exclusion amount to the highest rate of enlisted pay, plus imminent danger hostile fire pay received for each month. Combat zones where military personnel qualify for tax-exempt pay currently include Iraq, Afghanistan, Bosnia, and Kosovo. Additional specific locations that qualify as combat zones by specific dates can be found listed on the IRS website in the search box at www.irs.gov. Enter combat zones. How about combat zone deadline extensions? You know, both military and some non-military personnel serving in combat zones receive an extension for most tax deadlines. In general, the extension runs for the entire period of service in the combat zone plus 180 days after the last day in the combat zone. Unlike the military pay exclusion, deadline extensions are available to persons not in the military who are serving in a combat zone in support of the U.S. Armed Forces. Now, let me give you an example of that. Merchant Marines serving abroad or aboard vessels under the operational control of the Department of Defense, Red Cross personnel, accredited correspondents, and civilian personnel acting under the direction of the United States Armed Forces in support of those forces. Armed Forces personnel based outside a combat zone also qualify for the extension if their service is in direct support of the military operations in the combat zone, and if they receive special pay for duty subject to hostile fire or imminent danger as certified by the Department of Defense. The extension applies not only to tax return filings, but also to payment assessment and collection deadlines. In addition, it's also going to apply to the return filing deadline for both spouses when one qualifies for the extension, even if they file separately. The individual tax returns of the dependent children of the person who qualifies for the extension when children have enough income to have a filing obligation. And estate tax, employment and excise tax returns of individuals in the combat zone, but not to employment tax withholding or filing, nor to the filings of corporations, S corporations, or other separate legal entities individual may own. But earned income and child credits on exempt pay. The tax-exempt income provided to military personnel in combat zones had the drawback of making the earned income and child credit unavailable to many military families since they require taxable earned income to be claimed. Here's a new break for you. Starting now, law changes enabled military personnel to elect to include tax-exempt combat pay in calculations used to receive these credits when this will increase the size of the credit. Again, amended tax returns can be filed to claim these credits if they were overlooked. So just keep that in mind. How about death benefits? You know, the law doubled the military death benefit from $6,000 to $12,000. And then it went up to, actually right now it's $12,420. It's retroactive all the way back to September the 11th, 2001, and made the entire amount of the benefit absolutely tax-free. What's new? For those killed in combat, the death benefit is $100,000. Families who paid tax on that benefit following the old rules can file amended returns to get those taxes back and get it with interest. Now, more information? Check tax information for members of the U.S. Armed Forces on the IRS website and IRS Publication 3, Armed Forces Tax Guide, and it's available absolutely free on the IRS website or by calling 800-829-3676. Now, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to give you some more tax tips. I want to talk to you about the hottest audit targets today. You're going to find this really interesting, I promise you. So do not go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:48 p.m. Pacific time, still 72 degrees. But you know what? If you're on our global network and you're listening to us in Paris, France, well, it's 28 degrees and clear there right now. And if you're listening to us in Rome, Italy, it's 50 degrees and also clear. I wouldn't mind being in either one of those places if you think about it. Beautiful. As a matter of fact, I have been in both of those places many, many times. It's just a beautiful, wonderful place. Well, you know what? We're going to continue on with our tax hotline today. We like doing this. We do it every Wednesday. And right now, we want you to kind of watch out and be careful. I want to talk to you about the hottest audit targets today. That ought to be of interest to you. You don't want to be one of those, do you? Absolutely you don't. Here, let's try this out. You know, IRS audit rates are rising right now. Moreover, the IRS is targeting its audits more effectively after conducting a national research program on taxpayer behavior. Now, here are the most dangerous areas of audit risk right now and how to minimize the danger that they pose to you. First up, self-employment. You know, The IRS's clear number one audit priority is examining the tax returns of people who own sole proprietorship small businesses and file Schedule C with their tax returns. Why? IRS research shows that sole proprietors underpay their taxes by far more than any other group. So let me give you an example of that. Small business sole proprietors underpaid their taxes by a total of $68 billion compared with only $30 billion for all large corporations last year. And that national research program examined, just thousands of returns, says the IRS. Now, former IRS Commissioner Mark Everson has publicly stated our increased focus will be on those individuals who are filing 1040s and are running businesses that are not incorporated. Typically, that's individuals who are filing Schedule C. The highest audit risk is faced by those who report net losses from their businesses. The IRS believes that many such people underreport income and inflate deductions to manufacture deductible losses. Aren't running legitimate businesses at all, but only hobbies or sidelines that have no real profit motive behind them. That's what they're finding. So here's the danger. If the IRS selects such a business loss for audit, the audit can spread to become a full examination of the individual's entire tax return, even if the loss was only a small dollar amount reported on from a sideline business. So let me give you an example of that. Let's just say that a doctor client of mine with a successful high-income hospital practice as an employee set up a sideline solo practice near a year-end as a proprietorship. Startup costs created a perfectly legitimate small business. Let me get that. There we go. We got that. So startup costs created a perfectly legitimate small business loss for it. Let me turn this microphone off here. Let's see here. There we go. A legitimate small business loan. I've got Joel called in, and he's shuffling paper, so I just wanted to make sure we got this thing taken care of. Anyway, let me see if I can find where I was. Okay, startup costs created a perfectly legitimate small business loss for it, even though the loss was insignificant relative to the doctor's total income. The IRS selected it for audit, and the audit spread to become a full examination of 3 years of his returns. So the self-defense, if you report a loss on a Schedule C, be able to show that your business is legitimate, not a mere hobby, by showing that it has a profit motive. How? Have a written business plan that explains how you intend to make a profit. Keep a diary showing the amount of work that you put into the business to make it profitable. Operate the activity in a business-like manner by having segregated business bank accounts, keeping full accounting records, obtaining all required local business licenses, and so on. Be aware that the loss might be examined by the IRS and keep full records documenting how it was actually incurred. Also, if a loss will be small and not important to you, as is the case of this doctor client of mine, try to avoid incurring it at all, and the heightened audit risk that it actually involves there by steps such as postponing deductible expenditures until after year end. Perhaps in the following year, your business will turn a net profit. How about profitable proprietorships? Schedule C filings that report profits incur heightened audit risk as well. The key to the degree of audit risk is whether deductible expenses reported on the Schedule C are so large as to be out of line with industry averages. The more by which such deductions exceed the averages, the more likely it is that the IRS is going to select that return for an audit. So here's something that'll be useful to you. The IRS does not publish such deduction averages. However, the Government Accountability Office, GAO, has published data obtained from the IRS about the average deductible expenditures of proprietorships in different industries by size of the business and how they operate, such as with or without a home office. Now, the data is from way back from 2014, but probably still provides a generally accurate picture. Now, for more details on this, see information on expenses claimed by small business sole proprietorships. The report is hashtag GAO-04-304. Let me give it again. The report is hashtag GAO-04-304. And it's available at the IRS website at www.gao.gov. Oh, we're getting all kinds of notices here. Okay, let's get that there. Okay, now you know what? If your business deductions are unusual or large for its industry, be prepared to defend them to a tax examiner. That's just the way it's going to be, guys. It's just the way it is going to be. So you know what? There's a lot of personal items that get involved too. The mismatched information returns. You know, as far as W-2s, 1099s, that kind of stuff. So you want to be careful. You want to be sure that you include the numbers from all information returns on your tax return. And if any discrepancies exist, attach a written explanation of them, of why it's actually gone. And be careful about unusually large deductions. You might want to put an explanation in there for that as well. Maybe, you had the income of $50,000 to $100,000 and took average charitable contribution deductions of $2,700, right? If you took $5,000, they're going to take a look at you. And then be careful about private corporations and salary levels. Those things are also going to come back and potentially bite you. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to be with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, and he's going to give us an update on what's going on in the wireless industry today. And you know what? I'm going to ask Joel to comment on his feelings about Apple's fight with the FBI and the feds about trying to release or do a go-around for encrypted technology with regard to the San Bernardino terrorists. So we'll see what Joel thinks about that after these brief messages. Do not go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:59 p.m. Pacific time. We're still at 72 degrees in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, it's not going to be too sunny because it's getting ready to rain over here. And so, you know what? We can use it. We need it. If you're listening to us on our global network and you happen to be in London, England, well, it's 41 degrees and there's light rain there right now. And if you're in Vienna, Austria, it's 39 degrees with scattered clouds. But I'll tell you, there are no clouds brewing over the top of our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Hey, Joel, welcome aboard.
Hey, Robert, it's raining over here, so we may have some clouds today. I hate to disappoint you.
Well, you know what? It's supposed to rain here later, so it must be coming from your area in Torrance over to me.
I'm sending it your way.
Well, you know, I'm okay with it. We need the rain. So all
right. Well, I know what you're going to ask me about.
Yep.
You know, because it's been in the news,
yep.
And as everybody knows, Apple's fighting the order to unlock the San Bernardino gunman's iPhone.
So what's the difference, Joel? What's the difference between unlock it and get rid of the encryption? I mean, can they do it on an individual basis like that?
No, and that is the whole issue. You know, if they create a master key for this phone, it's you know, the government will ask for it again and again and again and again. You know, what this all reverts to is I think it was about 3 years ago, Google and Apple both came out with new software which was fully encrypted. And what that meant is they could not even decrypt it. And what would happen in most cases, as with BlackBerry before that, if you tried to unlock a device 10 times, on the 11th time, that would automatically wipe the device clean.
Oh, wow.
So that was the only way that you could unlock it was, and this is like a PIN code. Mm-hmm. This isn't locking it so you can use it on Sprint or Verizon or T-Mobile or AT&T. This is a PIN code to allow access to the device. Okay,
so this is this is the same code that I put into mine with my fingerprint, or first thing in the morning I put my 4-digit code in.
Exactly.
And
this is an Apple 5C.
I got
the cheap one.
So it's the same thing that I have. They can't get into it without my PIN code, and if they
exactly,
I hear you.
So they don't know the 4-digit code. They've probably entered it 8 or 9 times. And if they enter it one more time, they're going to wipe everything in the phone. So what they're trying to do is convince, would be a nice way of putting it. They're trying to squeeze Apple into decrypting this for them. But the problem is Apple can't do it. And if they did do it, it's like Pandora's box.
Yeah.
Once you open it up one time, then the government's going to constantly come to them and request it. And if the government can get in, then hackers can get it.
Gotcha.
And that's the bottom line. So as much as I think these San Bernardino folks are dirtbags, and I love to know what's on their phones, I think it's a very legal issue. It's very complicated. It involves statutory interpretation rather than constitutional rights. It's going to go to the Supreme Court probably.
So what happened to...
But in a nutshell, my feeling, Robert, is I have to side with Apple on this. You know, I don't think, you know, that why give, you know, hackers an opportunity? You know, if the government can do it, hackers are going to be able to do it. I just don't know that I want the government to have that right as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know what I wanted to ask. You know, at first I had mixed emotions because I think in terms of, you know, what is that going to yield? How much information is it going to yield? Is it going to make anybody any safer? Truth is probably not. But remember the big controversy about the NSA was actually listening in on everybody's phone calls and their numbers and all that stuff. Do they not still have that ability? Do they not still have the ability to get a court order to get that information?
You know, that is a very good question.
I mean,
that is a very good question.
Yeah, why does this have to be an issue with Apple and the FBI? Why can't the NSA just get a court order and pull the information?
Well, because they can't get the information.
Well, no, but there's a record of all the calls that are made, right? It's not necessarily all just on the phone.
Well, I don't know that the NSA has it.
Oh, okay. Because
yeah, I think what they need is to get into that device.
Ah.
And and hopefully it's going to give information that they can help crack.
Yeah,
I just don't think they're going to get it. That's the problem.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to get it either. And but here's the thing. I mean, I have a right to privacy, but if NSA had that, remember the big controversy that they were listening in on everybody's calls and they knew what number everybody was calling. And if they had that, I mean, if we had the encrypted phones and they couldn't get at it, why would that have been any kind of an issue?
Good question.
There's something missing here.
I don't know. All I know is that the encryption must really, really work because the FBI and NSA cannot, whoever, those three-letter bodies cannot get into this device.
Yeah, because because why do they go after Apple instead of whoever their service provider is? I mean, they're the ones that are trapping all this information, right? AT&T, Verizon, any of them, they're trapping all the information in the cloud, exclusive of the phone.
Well, you would think that would be, I'm sure that they're looking at that option as well. I don't know that they trap all of the data that would be on the phone. For example, third-party apps, like WhatsApp, which I doubt they could unencrypt as well. But it really depends on what they're seeking. Maybe there's photos on the phone. Who knows what they're trying to get to?
Yeah. But
they can't even get into the phone. So it's academic because I don't think Apple's going to let them do it.
Yeah, and they're
going to have to.
Yeah, I mean, right now it just looks like the FBI is trying to flex its muscles, and Apple is saying, no, we're stronger than you are at this moment. And and I don't even know that Apple can fold on this issue, even if they get a court order. I think they've got to say, hey, wait a minute, these people have the right to privacy. You can't just open this. If we open this up for them, we open it up for millions upon millions of worldwide people who have the right of expectancy of privacy.
And they may not be able to open it up, and they may have to develop, new tech software, to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know that they readily have the capability to do it. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, yeah. No. Yeah. Only Apple knows, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know what? You and I've talked about the difficulties that I was having with regard to some of the codes that I was using on my phones, and Apple really wasn't able to help me with that either. And I own the doggone thing, so
yeah. Well, I'm a little bit getting disillusioned as we talked about with Apple. They're a little arrogant, and it's the golden rule. They got the gold, they can make the rule. But I'm just getting fed up. I'm having software issues. I don't know about you. I think we may have started to talk about this last week, but it's just that the integration isn't working. I tried to call in earlier today, and I tried to hit the mute button, and obviously it didn't work. And I know I pressed it.
Yeah.
As you could tell, and I apologize for that.
No apology necessary. I just turned your mic off from this side.
And the other thing that drives me crazy is I used to always close applications because my battery life is a third of what it was before I did the last software upgrade. So now I'm constantly closing apps, and I used to do the double click on the Siri button, the home button, to see what's open. Now, half the time I do that, I get that stupid Apple Pay thing, which I don't use and I didn't register for. But the new software made that. I guess when I double click it, I get that. So I have to figure out how to.
You make a really valid point here, and that is that I'm on my phone all day just like you are, and I use it a lot for the internet, and people are sending me stuff, in emails and texts and stuff. And I spend. It's not that it's difficult; it's just a pain in the neck to have to take all these things off the phone. When you close that thing, why the heck doesn't it just close it? Why does it leave it open in the background? That doesn't make any sense to me.
No, there's just, and for some reason, stuff has just not been as clean as it was previously. The interfaces and, my phone's been just acting strange lately. I'll have 27% battery left at 11:30 in the morning, that kind of stuff, and I used to get till 8 o'clock at night before the battery got down to 20%.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to have to probably do a master reset on this thing and start from scratch.
So a master reset, does that wipe out everything you have, or because every once in a while I'll do a what I used to refer to as a hard reboot. All it does is kind of clear everything out of there and freshen everything up a little bit. And because every once in a while, like you're talking about, I'll have a glitch about one thing or another, that something's not working or something froze, and I'll do a hard reboot and it solves the problem.
Yeah, well, you probably just turn the thing off.
Yeah.
Or do you just turn it off and hit the down arrow, the down volume?
Yeah, I hit both. I press both buttons at the same time.
Yeah, that's the best thing to do, and that's the first thing you do. Yeah, well, that's the second thing. You turn it off, turn it on. If that doesn't fix it, you turn it off, holding the volume down. And then the thing recycles and does the hard boot. You don't lose anything.
It's interesting.
If you have to do a full reset, as long as you're backed up on the iCloud, it'll all come back.
It's interesting. There's a lot of little tricks that go on. Every once in a while, I just get frustrated and I'll go to airplane mode and then take it back off of airplane mode, and that fixes the problem.
Yes, that's a very, very good fix that we in the industry use. If you ever have problems with Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or any of the radio frequencies, the easiest thing to do, go into airplane mode for a second and then back into regular mode, because what that does, it shuts off all of the radio frequencies and then it turns them back on. So if there's a glitch or, this will straighten it out. So very good point, Robert. That's, what we do in the industry if there's an issue with Wi-Fi, a connectivity problem. So that can be a good idea.
So I've got to mention one more thing, and I know you've probably got something all prepared, and I'm taking. We've only got about 6 minutes left on this segment. I don't know if I mentioned to you, I went out and I got this microcell from AT&T. I love this.
Yes.
This is the greatest thing since chopped bread.
Well, it is, because basically what it is doing, if it's doing the same thing as the one I'm familiar with T-Mobile, is instead of a Wi-Fi router, it's a long-term evolution router, meaning it's a booster of your LTE 4G signal, so it should be amplifying that signal throughout your entire home.
Yeah, it is. Matter of fact, and it's strong enough that it actually goes out to my patio. It's interesting, because my phone shows, before I bought it, I was lucky if I had one bar inside. And now I've got 5 bars inside and even out in my patio. It picks up a signal, I guess, a weak signal from, it's got to be, not too far from a window, but it picks up, right, I think, a weak signal, but it also plugs into my internet router. I'm not sure what that's all about, but man, I have got the strongest signal. I love this thing.
No, those things work terrific, and that's one of T-Mobile's tricks. They used to be the smallest network and didn't have as much coverage, but embraced Wi-Fi and whatever solutions they could come up with, short of building a cell site in your backyard for you to get better service. So this is something they came up with, was working great. AT&T's adopted it. Sprint has something. Now that everybody is LTE, I'm sure all the carriers have them, and I know it's free on most of them. I know T-Mobile is, and I believe it's free with AT&T.
You remember when we were talking about AT&T, and I think there were some other companies too, coming in with the voice over IP when they couldn't get a strong signal?
Yes. Did you ever get that working on your phone?
I actually wound up having to go to the AT&T store, told them, hey, listen, I can't get this thing. I don't know if you got a software update or what's going on, why I'm not getting it. And they explained to me that it was only available on the iPhone 6S.
That is nonsense. How can that be? It's available on every other carrier. That's amazing. It's been available for 8 years now with T-Mobile, since the day the first iPhone came out. It's been available on, I shouldn't say that. It's been available on all phones except iPhones. The first iPhone that got it, I believe, was the I think it might have been 5 or 5S.
Yeah, and I've got the 5S, but
you should have it on your phone. That's pretty strange. That, but I guess maybe that phone needed special hardware or something it doesn't have. But we have 5Ss, on T-Mobile that do have that feature.
So
go figure.
Maybe I got one of the first 5Ss and they didn't have it. The thing wasn't available for me or something.
That could be.
Yeah. Anyway, because my biggest decision is going to be, I'm a sold on Apple product kind of guy, but my biggest decision is going to be, am I going to switch because I'm tired of Apple dipping into my wallet, not for the new phone I'm going to buy, but for all the doggone accessories that I have to get?
Well, we'll know in 4 days, because word has it that this Samsung Galaxy S7 launch announcement is in 4 days at the Mobile Congress in Barcelona, and word has it that they are going back to water resistance, and they're going back to the removable micro SD memory. So that's all I really know at this point, but I'll know more in 4 days, and you know what? I may just go, I may give one of those things another run.
Yeah. Other than that, my iPhone, it's got more bells and whistles than I could ever use, and I probably use more of them than a lot of people do. I use the reminder, and I use Siri, and I do all that stuff, and I'm mesmerized by it. It's a little scary to me to think that I have to relearn another. I don't know this phone, much less relearn another one.
Hey, Robert, did you hear about this, this Martin Shkreli dude? The guy with the
drug guy?
Exactly. The guy who marked up his cure
5,000%. Yeah, 5,000%.
Just crazy.
Yeah. You know what, that guy...
Well, did you hear about the karma he just got?
No.
He just got scammed out of $15 million.
Oh, you're kidding, really?
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Yeah, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Here's the guy that I'd like to see, get a traffic ticket, be thrown in jail, and then throw away the key and forget what jail he's in.
Exactly. Apparently, this guy tried to buy Kanye West's new Life of Pablo record directly from the label for $15 million.
Right.
And he apparently, did you hear this?
Yeah.
He paid with $15 million in Bitcoin, and then he found out he got scammed, so he tweeted, "I need my money back. This isn't a effing joke. WTF? And who the F has my $15 million?" And he's upset.
Well, you know what?
So then he contacted the owner, the creator of Bitcom, and said he's agreed to help me get my money back. I always win. And second of all, I can make the money back faster than anyone, so the joke is on you if you think I even care. And then it's like, hope you all enjoy this stupid music so much, and the fact it has brought me so much pain and suffering, I quit rap.
Good. I could care less. I have such animosity for this man for what he has done on the greed
exactly
that I could care less if he died from a heart attack.
You know what? I agree. Here's a guy who could do the world good, and he's nothing but a Gordon Gecko.
Yeah. You know what? I was thinking, I would like for him to God, this is horrible. He's talking like this, but I'd like for him to develop some kind of a disease that he does not have a drug for, that he has to get the drug from another company that won't sell it to him for anything less than $15 million a pill.
That would be justice.
Yeah, that would be justice. And speaking of justice, we have to go on a short break, and when we come back, more from our own Dr. Wireless, Joel. Hey, Joel, give out your contact information. We can wait a little bit.
All right. Everything we are going to talk about will be found at Facebook/DR Wireless, also on our site, www.drwireless, and I can be contacted personally at joel@drwireless.com.
And we'll be right back with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Well, it's finally getting a little cooler. It's 68 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire. And it's raining in Torrance, California, and it's going to start raining a little bit later here in the heart of the Inland Empire. But you know what? If you're listening to us on our global network and you happen to be in Tokyo, Japan, well, it's currently 39 degrees and mostly cloudy there. And if you're in, I think I already said Austria, didn't I? So how about Sydney, Australia? It's 75 degrees and scattered clouds. So, you know, we've got listeners all over the world, and I'm sure that they know what the temperature is, but I'll tell you what, the temperature's rising. You know why? Because of the information that we're getting from our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Hey, Joel, you got the microphone.
I got some hot stuff for you, and if you're in Tokyo, Japan right now, you may be interested in this one. Scientists developed a new application that uses your cell phone to detect earthquakes. Have you heard about that one yet, Robert?
I did hear about it. I don't know a lot about it, but I did read about it.
Very simple. What they do is it's a Google app right now. It'll probably come to Apple. You download it. Basically, you become a data collection point. Your phone accesses, data collection, when earthquakes are detected, and you transmit it back to the powers that be, our friends at Caltech probably.
Yeah.
And basically they'll have all this information coming from all these data collection points, and they'll get it quick and be able to evaluate, hopefully quicker.
So is this going to
be able to harvest it? They're harvesting information from hundreds and hundreds of phones that are closest to the earthquake on a real-time basis.
So do you think this is going to replace the sensors that they've placed worldwide for earthquakes?
No, I think it's going to probably supplement them.
Oh, yeah, it makes sense.
But I think it's a brilliant idea. Anything they can do. I mean, I'm from Florida, and I've always been used to the luxury of expectation. When there's a hurricane coming, we knew 5 days ahead of time. Now it's a lot longer than that, and we prepared accordingly with the plywood boarding up and, getting water and all that. Earthquakes, they hit you so fast you just don't know what's going on, and I just never got used to them.
Yeah. There's no warning on. Well, they're trying to do that, but there's really no warning on an earthquake. They just hit. That's all there is to it.
Exactly, not fun.
No,
but don't enjoy them at all. Anyhow, we also have new technology coming, and I think we're going to see this hopefully in a lot of different brands. Sony used to make parts that were used in a lot of different smartphone manufacturers' devices, and then they merged with Ericsson. We're doing their own thing, and now they're kind of selling to everybody again. But they have a new 22.5 megapixel sensor, camera sensor, which has got a bigger lens, supposed to be very, very good. I think we're going to see some improvement in the next round of smartphones.
Do you think that smartphones will ever make photographers obsolete? That with all these fancy, very expensive, the Hasselblads and the Nikon and all those things, do you think that they're ever going to go by the wayside because of the smartphones with their camera technology?
I think they're going to probably put a dent in the low to moderate, cameras. Those cameras you might spend $150 to maybe $800 for. I think if you want to shoot, with a 700 millimeter lens, 500 yards away, an iPhone isn't going to do it.
Yeah.
But depending on your needs, the quality of these cameras and the Carl Zeiss optics are getting better and better and better. And more importantly, the fact that you can edit everything. You can change the color and the shadow and the temperature, and with all those settings, you can take the picture, edit it, and save it.
Yeah.
So ideally, I think most people can work with what their smartphones will do, but if you're a professional photographer, you're going to probably want a standalone camera as well. It's getting better.
Yeah, I was telling a friend of mine the other day, when we were packing up stuff and getting ready to move to our new place, I actually found an old 35 millimeter camera that I had forgotten that I even had. It was a really nice one. It's got multiple lenses and all these things. And I thought, gosh, I hate to throw that away. It cost a lot of money when I bought it. I wonder if you can still buy 35 millimeter film. And my friend says, well, yeah, you can, except that you can't edit individual pictures anymore. You have to develop the entire roll and print the entire roll before you find out if it's got anything good or bad. So
exactly.
Guess what happened to the camera?
Can't win. Goodwill.
Yeah. Goodbye, camera.
That's what happens. Well, it's new technology. You've heard about smartphones? How about smart shoes?
Smart shoes?
Smart shoes. Samsung is involved. They're funding an effort now to make shoes, and these shoes are going to give you wearable data. They're going to tell you, actionable information on the exercises you're doing, how many steps you've walked. Analyze your center of gravity. Maybe they'll help you give you feedback on your posture, your golf swing. What's this world coming to?
Oh yeah, that's unbelievable. One of the things I was astounded one time. I was sitting down having a cocktail with a good buddy of mine, and he was saying that he tracks his walking every day. I says, "Oh really? What do you use?" He says, "I didn't have to buy anything. It's right on my iPhone." And he showed it to me, and I thought, you got to be kidding. The iPhone is tracking how many steps and how far you go? It's unbelievable.
It is amazing with all these third-party apps. There's millions of apps, and it's incredible what you can do.
Yeah. You know what? I guess that the only limitation is the ingenuity of the person who's developing the app, huh?
That it's obviously getting people to download it and use it, and to know about it. It's awareness. You got to know the app exists, how it's going to benefit you, how do I use it, and then downloading it.
Yeah, but if you're lucky enough to have an app that has any kind of appeal to it, and you get it into both the Google and the Apple stores, you're going to be an instant millionaire overnight.
Yeah, if you sell it for $1.
Yeah.
It's good times.
Yeah, unbelievable, yeah. So, anyway.
Have you heard about AT&T? What they just did? They just matched Verizon and T-Mobile with a $650 offer to, if you swap carriers, you're buying out contracts.
Oh, really? So what you're saying is I ought to quit and come back, huh?
Yep. What I'm saying now is the carriers used to say how great contracts are. Now they say they're bad, and it's better to have a contract on the device and not have a contract on the plan because, we don't give you early termination fees. And the reality is, the good thing about the contracts is you got a $450 immediate subsidy towards whatever you wanted. And if you were moving from another carrier, you usually got another $150 subsidy. So that's $600 towards, say, a $650 iPhone. Not bad.
Well, no, you know what? That's not bad at all. Did I mention to you? I when I moved, I got Verizon's FiOS, and I got their whole system. Right? Do you know that they gave me $500 for doing that? Oh,
of course. Yeah, they have to.
Oh, I didn't.
Competition is tough these days, and part of what I do is I negotiate for businesses and get them a better deal. And the way I can do that is I know the carriers, and I know if the carriers feel that a company with 20, 30, 50 lines is ready to move, and they can have a great deal, I can get them a better deal just by selling the carrier that they're ready to move.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of times they will throw money. They'll throw. They have to. They don't want to give you anything, but they realize a percentage of something beats 100% of nothing. And if you leave, you're getting 100% of nothing.
Yeah.
But going back to this contract thing, I had somebody asking me about contracts, and the fact of the matter is Verizon still offers them. They say they don't. For some reason, I can do Verizon contracts, retail, corporate, new activations, upgrades, $450 subsidy, the new plans. Contracts, I think, are better than ever now, and here's why. They protect the consumer for the first time, not the carrier. And the reason is all four major carriers offer buyback up to $650. So nobody wants to sell a contract because the other three carriers are willing to buy them back, and they lose the subsidy. So it's a lose situation for the carriers now because all the other carriers are willing. You sign up with AT&T tomorrow. Next week, Verizon will give you $650 to move you over. So that $350 early termination fee, that dreaded ETF that everybody would stay for 2 years, even when they hated their carrier, it means nothing now. Because not only will they pay the $350, they'll pay another $300 towards whatever phone you leased or bought. So $650, buyout from all the carriers makes contracts a very safe bet. You want off the merry-go-round? It's no problem. But the benefit of contracts is the carriers will never change your plan. Even when your 24-month carrier goes to 25 months and it's month-to-month, they are not going to change the terms of your agreement. They're not going to take away anything. If you're on a month-to-month plan, they can change at any time. They would rather have the contract on the device than on the the actual plan, because this way they can change the terms of the plan anytime.
So,
what's the change with the device?
So Joel, when they have the contract on the device and not the individual, is this one of those situations? Is this why you don't own the phone anymore? You actually lease the phone?
Well, that's where it gets intricate, and here's the funny thing. There's financing and there's leasing. And let's just forget the leasing right now. Let's talk financing, because that's something all four carriers do. Mm-hmm. And it's $27.09 basically with all four carriers if you want an iPhone 6S 16 gig for 24 months. So it sounds pretty even. But when you dig deeper, let's say you're with T-Mobile, and in 6 months you decide, you know what, I want to go to Verizon. Well, you can buy out the contract. You can do that with any of them. Mm-hmm. So you have the option of buying out. If you want to move from one carrier to the other, you simply pay off your contract for the phone. So you pay that $650 off after, a month, 6 months, whatever. You go wherever you want. They'll unlock your phone as well. Here's the thing that most people don't realize. Let's say that you're with T-Mobile, and let's say that you have a 2-year contract, and let's say that you want to pay it off early. You want to double up on your payment. So you want to throw down an extra $100 one month because you had a big month. You can do that with T-Mobile. You cannot do it with the other carriers. You either pay everything off in full or you pay your $27.09, but you can't overpay to reduce the payment. So there's a lot of little stuff involved. There are lease deals available as well. Some are good. The key is you need to find out what kind of protection if the device is lost or stolen or water damaged. You want to see what the repercussions are.
So in your opinion, if somebody's going to go out, but matter of fact, let's just do a theoretical. Let's just say that I'm going to go out and get my iPhone 6S, because I don't think I want this big, huge 6 Plus. We've talked about that before. Let's just say I was going to do that. Am I better off to get that phone from Apple or from AT&T or from a third party? Where am I better off getting that phone?
Well, that's a good question, and it varies. For example, if you're with T-Mobile, it would be better to get it from T-Mobile. And the reason is right now, T-Mobile's offering an extra $100 off anybody who finances a device through them, whether it's an upgrade or whether it's a new activation. So if you want to say a $750 64 gig 6S, normally it'd be $750. It'd be $650 with T-Mobile. If you bought it from them, it'd be $750 from Apple.
Gotcha.
So it all varies. Now, to sum it up here before we run out of time, mm-hmm. I would tell people this. If I was going to go with T-Mobile, I have no problem with their zero interest finance program. It's terrific. They have really no other option. If I was going to go with Verizon, I would take the contract in a second. And the reason is that secures your plan. And anybody that's on an unlimited data plan with Verizon, they haven't offered that for over 4 years now. Over 1% of their subscriber base is still on that plan. Even though they're month to month, they still have that plan and can keep it for as long as they want. It's called grandfathering. So that's the benefit of a contract. If you like what you have, you keep it for life. And if the carrier comes out with something better, you can take it for the asking. So it's a win-win for the consumer. The consumer can dump the contract anytime. The consumer can dump the plan anytime. But the benefit of a contract is the consumer can lock in on a plan and not worry about the carrier changing it.
Wow.
Example, I was with a T-Mobile reseller and paying $49 for 4 gigabytes of high-speed internet, and then the next month they decided they only wanted to give me 2 gigabytes for the same money. They wanted me to pay $20 more if I wanted that 4 gig. And they said, if you don't like it, you can leave. You're not under contract.
Wow. Hey,
so this is why it pays to be in a contract. If you like your plan and you want to keep it, this ensures that you're guaranteed that you're going to have a plan you like, and if a better one comes out, you leave. If not, they're not going to monkey with you.
Gotcha. Hey, give out that contact information one more time. We're running out. We're out of time.
Anyhow, we have all of this on our drwireless.com/blog. I did a big article about contracts, the pros, the cons, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Also, I can be reached at Facebook/Dr. Wireless and Joel at drwireless.com.
Hey, Joel.
Back to you, Robert.
Fantastic show. Thank you so much. Stay safe, stay dry, and stay happy. We'll talk to you next Wednesday. I'm looking forward to it.
Pouring here, sending it your way, Robert.
All right. Thank you. Now, the rest of you folks, stick around, because when we come back from this brief message, we're going to do the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And if you're listening to us on our global network, know that in Auckland, New Zealand, it's currently 77 degrees and mostly cloudy there. If you're listening to us in Hong Kong, China, it's 55 degrees and overcast. And you know what? If you're listening to us in Lisbon, Portugal, and it's a beautiful city if you've never been. It's 48 degrees and partly cloudy. But right now, what I want to talk to you about are the Harvard business tip of the day. The management tip today is to avoid common business travel mishaps. And boy, there are a lot of them too. Mishaps can just, can strike any traveler, no matter how seasoned. Now, here's how frequent travelers avoid problems en route. First off, check your layover. Excuse me. Now, always allow an hour for a domestic layover and 2 hours for an international flight. And never, ever check a bag unless you want to get it lost. That's exactly how that happens. And know your airports. Figure out which always have terrible lines, which have amazing fast intra-airport monorails, and which will make your clear security again mid-layover. Be careful with that stuff. And then try to clear customs at your destination, not en route. This way, at least you're in the right country if you end up in a long line. And finally, never take the last plane home. Book the third to last or second to last flight just in case you get bumped. Yeah, think about it. It can happen. I've seen it happen many, many times. Well, you know what? It's time for our secret daily teachings for your life. This is all about a positive mental attitude. You've heard me say this many, many times, and this isn't any different. You actually control what goes on in your life, whether you're happy, you're sad, you're rich, you're poor, you're successful, or you're a failure, and even the happiness of the people around you. It's all based on a positive mental attitude. You know, the secret for today is this: the Wright brothers and the plane, George Eastman in film, Thomas Edison and the light bulb, Alexander Graham Bell and the telephone. The only way anything has ever been invented or created is because one person saw a picture in his mind. He saw it clearly, and by holding that picture of the end result in his mind, all the forces of the universe brought his invention into the world through him. These men knew the secret. They had utter faith in the invisible, and they knew the power within them to leverage the universe and bring the invention into the visible. Their faith and imagination have been the cause of the evolution of humankind, and we reap the benefits of their creative minds every single day. Yeah, it's all about a positive mental attitude. Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's talk about those interesting but useless facts. You know what? Let's not do that. Let's get to our birthdays for today. You know what? If you know that what today is, it's Wednesday, February 17th. It's my good buddy Don Armstrong's birthday. But you know what? Other people are celebrating their birthday today too. Yeah, you know, my good buddy Don Armstrong celebrating his birthday today. I know that I wished him well this morning. But, you know, he shares this day with some really, really notoriety or notable people. First off, here's a fellow that was born in 1963. He retired professional baseball player. The NBA, I said baseball, I meant to say basketball. The NBA website states that by acclamation, this person is the greatest basketball player of all time. Happy birthday, Michael Jordan. And here's one for you. Billy Joe Armstrong, born in 1972, lead vocalist, chief songwriter, and guitarist for the rock band Green Day. Well, here's somebody we've all heard of. She was born in 1981, a socialite, singer, and actress, known for her appearance on the TV series The Simple Life. Happy birthday, Paris Hilton. Yep. Hey, good buddy Don, you're in good company. How about this? What happened today in history on February the 17th, 1867? The very first ship passes through the Suez Canal. And in 1904, Madame Butterfly receives its premiere at La Scala in Milan. And 1924, in Miami, Florida, Johnny Weissmuller sets a new world record in the 100-yard freestyle swimming with a time of 52 2/5 seconds. And then finally, in 1972, sales of the Volkswagen Beetle model exceed those of the Ford Model T. Yeah. Well, our quote for today comes from St. Augustine, and St. Augustine says, "Indeed, man wishes to be happy even when he so lives as to make happiness impossible." Yeah. Well, now I think it's time for us to do those interesting but useless facts. You know, the tree dictated on the Lebanese flag is a cedar, if you care. Here's one for you. Any female bee in a beehive could have been the queen if she had been fed the necessary royal jelly. All female bees in a given hive are sisters. Give that some thought. How about this? I'm not even going to try to do that. It's Figatis. You know what? I'm going to go past it. I can't even pronounce it. Here's one for you. The penguin is the only bird that can swim but not fly. It is also the only bird that walks upright. Give that some thought. Try this on for size. Do you know that rabbits cannot vomit? Do you care? Let me leave you with this. The classic toy wagon was designed by Antonio Passon, who founded his company in 1918. Passon wanted to give his wagons a modern flair and chose the word radio for what was then a new form of communication, and flyer for the wonder of flight, hence radio flyer. Yeah. You know what? We'll leave you with that one. Now, don't go away. When we come back, I'm going to answer your emails like I always do. First one comes from Jacob Boyd from Ironton, Michigan. He's asking about withholding exemptions, and I'm going to answer his question right after these brief messages. Don't go away, folks.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Well, we're getting down to the wire. We just wanted you to know that at 4:54 p.m. Pacific time, it is finally started to rain or sprinkle a little bit, drizzle a little bit here in the heart of the Inland Empire and what we used to call sunny Southern California. It's kind of liquid sunshine, right? But you know what? It's great. We needed this and we've got it, and we'll get a little bit today through the night and some more tomorrow, and hopefully that'll help us a little bit. Now, as I said, we're down to the wire. We got to answer your emails, and I want to do that right now. My first email comes from Jacob Boyd, as I said before, from Ironton, Michigan. He's asking about withholding exemptions and says, I incurred a big business loss that will wipe out most of my tax bill for the year. I want to file a new W-4, taking enough withholding exemptions to eliminate the tax withheld on my pay, but I've been told that if I take more than 10, I must be reported, or it must be reported to the IRS, and will invite an IRS audit. Is this true? Well, Jacob, you don't have to be concerned about this anymore. The IRS used to require that employers report to it whenever an employee took more than 10 withholding exemptions, but the current requirement is that employers only need to submit W-4s if the IRS actually requests them. The IRS may then limit how many exemptions that you're actually going to be allowed to take. Now, you can and should take any number of withholding exemptions that you are entitled to in order to balance your tax payments for the year with your tax liability for the year. Everybody should pay their fair share of taxes, but not one god-awful penny more. Next email comes from Matthew Burton from Pittsburgh, Massachusetts, asking about inherited bonds. And he writes, I inherited thousands of dollars worth of Series EE savings bonds from my mother. Is all of the interest on them taxed to me, even though most of it was earned before she died? Well, first of all, Matthew, congratulations. I'm glad you got it. Now, here's the thing. Interest on Series EE savings bonds generally is taxable when they mature or when they're cashed in, but the owner can elect to pay tax on the interest every year if they want to. Now, if your mother made this election, at that point, only the interest earned after she died is going to be taxable to you. Now, find out if she made the election by looking at her personal tax returns to see if they reported the interest annually. Similarly, your mother's estate could have elected to pay the tax on all of the interest earned until her death, leaving only later earned interest taxable to you. So ask the executor about it. If neither election was actually made, then all of the interest on the bonds is going to be taxable to you. But there is a break here. If her estate paid estate taxes, a portion is an itemized deduction for you, ameliorating the impact of reporting that interest. So, check into it. You'll be glad you did that. Next email from Jalen Carter from Bradenton, Florida, asking about tax obligations when abroad, and writes, if I go on an extended foreign vacation or around the world cruise, how are IRS notices going to be sent to me, and how should my tax filing obligations be handled while I'm gone? You know what, Jalen, that's a good question. If you are outside the U.S. on vacation as opposed to living and working outside the United States, your tax filing obligations are the same as if you were at home. But today, it's an easy thing to prepare and file your tax return by computer from almost anywhere in the world. And you can, of course, get an automatic 6-month filing extension before you leave home. It can be a good idea to also name a trusted agent, such as your tax pro, to receive notices from the IRS. Now, instruct the IRS to send copies of all tax notices to your agent by filing IRS Form 8821. That's the tax information authorization. Now, for more information on this, go to the IRS publication 54. That's 54, a tax guide for U.S. citizens and resident aliens abroad. Now, finally, my last email comes from Courtney Collier from Farrell, Oklahoma, asking about separate but equal, and says, when a married couple files separate returns, can one spouse itemize deductions and the other take the standard deduction? Well, Courtney, unfortunately, the answer to your question is no. Spouses who file separate returns must treat deductions in the same manner. If one spouse itemizes, so much the other. This is sometimes a problem with estranged spouses, so, that's kind of what's going on there. Now, having said that, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live. On my next show, Sean LaFave and I are going to be continuing our discussion on interesting travel tidbits and healthcare. Please tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. And don't forget, get my app. You can get it at the Apple Store. You can get it at GooglePlay.com as well. It's absolutely free, and we'd appreciate you telling all your friends about it. That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive.
Also, Robert Cardoza.